Hi. Well, it's another beautiful day out there, and today I want to talk about loneliness. Now, almost everybody on earth has felt this at one time or another, and what it is it's an emotion. That's what loneliness is. And it's the thoughts that go with the emotion. Okay? The thoughts that say, I'm not enough. That's why I don't have a man, or I'm not enough. That's why I don't have a woman. Okay? And this kind of thinking, along with the emotional impact that loneliness has, is difficult. But loneliness can be transformed into solitariness. And solitariness doesn't have any emotional impact, okay? You can be solitary without having suffering. So, how do we make this happen? Well, for one thing, you need to put space between you and the emotion. When this emotion comes up and you can feel it welling up, you need to be able to say, there's an emotion happening. Okay? And you need to accept that emotion. Okay? I mean, acceptance is beautiful, I've said before. And being accepted by somebody for whatever reason is a great thing. But you have to accept the emotion. Not fight against it, just accept for what it is. Notice it and accept it and let it go. Okay? And that can be transformed, and you no longer have the suffering. Okay? Once you've accepted the loneliness, okay, then its impact will fade. You'll still want to have that woman or that man, okay, but you won't need to as much. And the bad feelings that comes up when you feel lonely won't be there, okay? Sometimes in life we all have to be alone. That's just the way it is. I mean, I would love if that weren't the case, but that's just the way it is. And so we need to accept what is. And what is that we're alone. Suffering comes through taking what is, which is aloneness, okay, and making it worse by saying, I need this, I need that, and I'm not getting it, so therefore I'm unhappy. We have built-in sort of like conditioning that was put there by everybody. Collective conditioning is what it is, which says, I'm no good unless I have a man, or I'm no good unless I have a woman, okay? That collective conditioning comes from everybody, okay? And that collective conditioning is, saying you're not enough, you're not good enough. You don't have a woman or you don't have a man because you're just not good enough, okay? And that's just not the fact. You are good enough. Everybody's good enough, okay? So, we have to accept what is. Accept that you are alone. That's not necessarily a condemning of you because you couldn't find a man or whatever it is. That's just a fact. You are alone. I am alone. Okay? And once you've accepted that fact, then the loneliness feeling, okay, will slowly fade away. Okay? I know it's easy for me to talk because, I've dealt with some of this stuff. Okay? But for somebody who hasn't, this is a hard thing to do. So try to remember that you are not a person. Okay? And as such, these emotions don't belong to you. They're not you. Okay? You are not lonely. You're simply a solitary person. Okay? Because once we, accept this loneliness for what it is, which is something we made up to suffer over it. Okay, I mean that's what it is. I mean, go back to the Stone Age, and it was drummed into people that they needed to have a man. Okay, it was conditioned into them for eons. That's kind of hard to break, but you can break it. Okay, because not having a man or a woman says nothing about you. Okay, it doesn't have any judgment on you. You put the judgment on you when you feel lonely, because you're saying I'm not good enough. Okay, now I know sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's very hard. It's but that's just the way it is. Okay, we all have to deal with what we don't want to deal with, but we still have to deal with it anyway. Okay, and so what we have to do is accept what is. Okay, once you accept what is, then the suffering can be relieved. It's fighting against isness that causes suffering. Okay, and fighting against your loneliness is just about impossible. You can't fight it. Okay, but you can accept it. I mean, this kind of thing is just part of the human condition. Okay, I mean, everybody has to do what they have to do in this life, and being lonely is something you don't have to do. Okay, you have to go out and get a job and go to work and support yourself and others, but you don't have to feel lonely. Because, and believe me, loneliness can come whether you have a partner or don't have a partner. Okay? Loneliness is a judgment that you're making on yourself. Okay? It's not something that just happens. Okay? This collective conditioning that through the eons says that if you don't have a woman or a man, you're not good enough. Okay? It's a hard world. But the fact is, you are good enough. Just, it's hard. Okay? There's so many men out there looking for women and so many women out there looking for men, and nobody's connecting. Well, some people are connecting, obviously. But, it's hard to connect these days. Okay? So, you're alone. But that doesn't have to be the epicenter of your suffering. Okay? You can accept it. Just accept what comes. Okay? I mean, I don't know for sure what is going to come, but I can tell you one thing. If you don't accept what comes, you're going to suffer. That's just the way it is. And, I mean, we all have, our own sort of things that we like to do. Okay? And maybe some of that involves going out with friends and having a good time with friends and so on and so forth. And if you feel lonely during those times, that's because you have judged yourself as not being worth it. Okay? Which is not a great thing to judge yourself. Okay? We all felt lonely. Everybody feels lonely to some extent, and everybody judges themselves. Okay? But the main thing here is to accept what is. You are alone. You will be alone until something different happens, But if you accept it, it will transform, and you're just going to be solitary instead of lonely. And not only that, but when you're needy, which you are if you're lonely, that comes across to people. And it makes it a lot harder for some other person to take up your neediness. Okay? I mean, you can feel someone has a need, a real need, neediness, okay? And it turns people off. I don't know why that is, but that's just the way it is, okay? So, by letting go of this insane idea that you are not enough and accepting that you are lonely, you can get a lot of that stuff off of you, okay? It's a trap. That's what it is, okay? But this conditioning, the collective conditioning that you have on you, it's crap, okay? This is a new world. This is a new age. We don't necessarily have to be with somebody to have a happy life, okay? And we don't have to be with somebody to think that we're worth being with someone, okay? And that's what a lot of people feel, is that they're not worth anything to other people, which is a terrible, way to look at your life. You are good enough, and regardless of what anyone thinks or judges you, you're judging yourself if you think or you feel that loneliness. So accept what is. Put some spaciousness around the loneliness, okay? By noticing it, by saying, aha, it's loneliness, okay? And put that space between you and the loneliness and accept the loneliness. Or you can hold on to the loneliness, clutch it to you, okay? And you will feel the suffering, okay? In a way, everything that, has to be done in order to have a better life is way worth doing, okay? I know it's hard to try and accept things as they are, but it's worth it. All right, well, I love you all because you're me and I'm you. And try and accept who you are. Yes, you're a human, but you're also a being. And that being doesn't need anything. Okay? It just doesn't. But the human does. Okay? So, accept your loneliness. Accept the needy feeling. And they will go away. Okay? And then when you meet people, they won't say, oh, this guy was really needy. And thus cross him off your list. I mean, I hate to say that's the way the world works, but that's the way it works, So, have a great life. And try to remember who you are.